Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and this video is going to show the fastest fully upgraded vehicles from the GTA Online contract DLC in terms of lap time. As always, the position counter is in the top left with the best lap time the vehicle achieved in the top right, and since there are cars from a number of classes here, the positions within their own classes are also listed in the top left. This video lists all vehicles added as part of the contract DLC, including those in the initial release and everything from the drip feed. For other classes of cars, because I've tested them all, and all the information you need about this series, check the playlist linked in the second line of the description, and feel free to check out my Patreon or become a YouTube member if you want to support this work and get testing results of any new cars a little bit early. So yeah, I started with the bikes because I tend to separate, the two-wheeled motorcycles with all of the other vehicles. So obviously we had the Reaver and the Shinobi. The Reaver has that incredible top speed, and the Shinobi was right up there at the top of the motorcycles class. Well, both of them were really, so pretty impressive from both of the bikes. And then we had the Yuga Custom, which can only be used in the short trip mission. You can't use it in a race, you can't buy it or store it or anything like that. And then the Patriot Mil Spec, both of which were pretty lackluster in terms of lap time. And then we're into the SUVs part of the video. So we had 5 SUVs added with the contract DLC, more than any other class. The Granger 3600 XL was not that great. The iWagon was okay, drove nicely, but terrible top speed. We've got the Deity mixed in. That was a sedan that its lap time is very close to that of the iWagon, so that's in 10th place, just making it into the top 10 for the contract DLC. But it's sandwiched by a load of SUVs, and it's actually quite interesting because even though none of these SUVs are sort of going towards where the Toros is at the top of the class, they are padding out some of the tiers. So for the SUVs tier, we had the B tier only had the Contender, and then the A tier had the Novak and the Rebla GTS, whereas now we've got the Astron added with the Rebla and the Novak for the A tier, and the B tier has gone from 1 car with the Contender to 4 cars, adding the iWagon, the Jubilee, and the Baller ST alongside it. So even though sometimes when we get these cars added where their lap times are middling, Jubilee's 5th in SUVs, the Astron is 3rd in SUVs, nothing's on the top, beating the Toros when it comes to regular races. If you're just doing a random SUVs race, you're still going to want to choose the Toros. But these vehicles do sometimes pad out certain tiers, like the A tier and the B tier for SUVs races, so that those of us who do sort of organised racing in the community with a group who can restrict ourselves to those tiers of cars will have a much more interesting time. Having said that, there were some vehicles that did top their classes, with the Cinquemila here at 6th place overall for the DLC, but the number 1 new best sedan in the game, beating out the Shafter V12, although the Shafter V12 can still compete on some tracks because it does have a higher top speed. And then we come into the top 5 with the Comet S2 Cabrio in 5th place. It is only down in 40th place for the sports class, but a 1 minute 4 lap time is pretty respectable for a sports car. And really it's only in 40th place just because there's so many sports cars. We're coming on 90 sports cars now. It's kind of ridiculous. So it's not too bad, the Comet S2 Cabrio, and it drives a lot better than the regular Comet S2 after the nerf to the tuners. The big disappointment of the DLC is probably the Champion, with it being in the supercars class. It could probably quite easily have been in the sports class. With that lap time of 104.6, it's only about a 10th of a second quicker than what we just saw from the Comet S2 Cabrio, and there's a hell of a lot of sports cars that are quicker than that. So the fact that the Champion is in the supers class is a little bit but it does drive not too badly, and it does fit into the E tier of supercars along with the Adder, the Banshee 900R, the Sultan RS quite nicely, so at least it's got that. But it isn't even the quickest Imani Tech vehicle either, because in 3rd place for the contract DLC we've got the Buffalo STX, which absolutely dominated the muscle class. 103.4 is far and away quicker than anything that the muscle class has ever put out, the previous best being the Dominator ASP, which was released with the Tuners DLC. That's over 2 seconds per lap slower. And really it just became a point that if you want to do a muscle car race, a random muscle car race, you only ever need to choose the Buffalo STX. It's got the top speed of a Pisswasser Dominator alongside the grip of a Dominator GTX, and it's completely dominant. This could have easily been in the sports class as well, but no, it is dominant in muscle. So coming on to the top two, they are the top two supercars. This is more like the kind of performance you would expect from a supercar, unlike what we saw from the Champion. 101.4 for the Xeno isn't too bad. That's a pretty respectable standard lap time for a regular supercar. It pads out, the middle tier of supercars. B and C have a lot of cars that can be used that are all on close pace. 25th place in the supercars class, it's not bad. It's pretty standard, there's nothing to write home about with it. It does have a slightly better top speed than our number one vehicle, but it's not, it's not Riva levels of top speed like we saw from the 163 miles per hour from wheeling with the Riva. So, it's alright. But ultimately, the number one vehicle for the contract DLC was the Ignis, the only one to break the 1 minute barrier with a 59.6. It just misses out on getting to the S tier of supercars alongside the Krieger and the Emirates, but it is a good A tier vehicle that adds to another list of sort of Thrax, RE7B, XA21. It's about on the pace of those vehicles. So yeah, it's just off the top pace of supercars, but it's still a very, very quick car, and there's not many cars that are able to break that 1 minute barrier and get a 59 or 58 second lap time. So it's very, very quick car, the Ignis. Its top speed isn't too great. It's actually got the same top speed as the Champion, which is also the same top speed as the Adder, but all in all, it's a pretty respectable vehicle and a worthy number one for the contract DLC. At least we can say that. Now, as we watch the comparison between the number one vehicle and the worst vehicle in the contract DLC for lap time, I'm just going to talk a little bit about why I've done this video, because those who may have missed it, last week I uploaded the Riva testing videos basically all together in the weekly update news discounts video as well. So if you didn't see the Riva, the obviously the motorbike that we saw at the very start of this video, if you didn't see its lap time or its top speed, it's because it was in the weekly update video, and it's got a crazy top speed, by the way. It's incredible, so I recommend going back and watching it. But it was an idea that I had, and I talked about it in that video, the discussion part of that video at the end, that it was an idea that I had recently to sort of put in those drip feed vehicles into those videos rather than making 3 videos every Thursday when we've got drip feed vehicles. It's easier for me to do it all in one video, and I think it's better to watch for you guys as well, to be able to sort of watch one video. It contains lap time, it contains top speed, and then it contains all the usual weekly bonuses and a bit of discussion at the end. But obviously the concern with that is that those lap times and top speeds for any drip feed vehicles kind of get lost a little bit. It was all previously in this series. All the lap times are in the lap time testing series. All the top speeds are in the top speed testing series. So I thought a decent compromise with that would be that whenever there's a DLC, I would release an initial testing video as part of this series for lap time and top speed for all the vehicles that get added to the game initially and are released on day one, like I normally do. And then for the drip feed, because the drip feed is always just one car every week, I would put those lap times and top speeds in those weekly update videos every week. And then at the end of the drip feed, like now, for the contract DLC, I'll make a video like this that contains everything. It contains all the vehicles that we got initially, all the vehicles that we got for the drip feed, everything that I've tested over the last, say, 2 or 3 months from the drip feed and the release, everything that was added to the game with the latest DLC, in this case the contract DLC, all in one video, so that anybody coming to the channel in the future can check the lap time or top speed playlist and be able to quickly see any updates to the mainline sort of faster supers, faster sports in short form videos like this, where it's just all in one video without having to then go through multiple videos where it's sort of fastest supercars Ignis, fastest supercars Xeno, fastest supercars Champion, and try to piece it all together. And it also makes it a lot easier for me to be able to do those Thursday videos and just make one single video that contains everything. So I thought this was a decent compromise. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments, what you think about that idea, in addition to, putting the drip feed stuff in the weekly update videos, and the idea to make a compilation video at the end of every DLC drip feed like this that just contains everything all in one go. So yeah, thank you guys as always for all the support. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for everything. I do have some special testing videos coming very soon. I want to get them out before the expanded and enhanced edition of GTA releases, so keep an eye out for that. It should be a very nice sort of bookend to the testing series for lap time. But yeah, keep an eye out for all that. There'll be big discussion in those videos as well. There will be multiple videos about the future of testing on my channel and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out for those. But let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.